Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. Have you ever asked yourself, what's wrong with me? I know I have. Many a times in my lifetime. And I heard something that is really beautiful. And it is not thinking about what's wrong with you. It's asking what happened to you. What happened to me, right? So whenever you find yourself saying, what's wrong with me? Or you're beating yourself up about something you did. Maybe you overreacted. Maybe you just can't get out of bed because, and you're like, I'm lazy or whatever it might be. Maybe, you have big dreams and they're just not coming true. Anyways, when you find yourself saying, what's wrong with me? Turn around and say, what happened to me? And then this way you can look deeper. We've all had things happen to us, big or small, a death of a loved one, and have to figure out how to recover from that, the loss. And then there's smaller things or things that you might not even remember. For instance, for me, it's growing up being told I'm not smart enough and not pretty enough, things like that can really stick with you. But you don't even really know it. It was very small. So there's big things. And, some people mention big trauma versus little trauma. And in my opinion, it's all trauma, big or small. And it's going to affect the way you see yourself, how you handle yourself, and then how you react to things as well. And for the longest time, I was a people pleaser. I had to please everybody. And the fun thing is, though, as I was a people pleaser, I still had my own hopes and dreams, thankfully, rooting me forward and things like that. And I am very stubborn. So luckily I have that as well. But anyways, I always needed validation. I needed somebody to love me so I could feel loved. And that isn't fun because I was letting other people control how much I loved myself. So if other people liked me or, if I had a guy like me, then I felt loved. And then that is literally giving all your power away. So when you're beating yourself up, when something goes wrong or you're not loving how you look or how you act or just how your life is right now, ask yourself what has happened to you. This is a really good time to pull out your journal and just write that down. What happened to me? And you can start at the beginning. You can start whatever popped into your head first. There has been so much things that I had to unpack. And I know there's more, way, way more to unpack. But the more you look at things that have happened in your life, the more you can see where you need to heal. And it's really important because there was once a time where when I first discovered the law of attraction and The movie The Secret, and where it's when you're positive things come in. And it's fake it till you make it. So I was always faking that I was happy. Well, that backfired because I pushed all my feelings way, 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 way deep down and it exploded everywhere. And I was even more unhappy than I was before I started. And I'm not saying that positive thinking isn't important. It really is. Gratitude, being grateful for the things that already are in your life and being, just happy and positive about the things that are going on and having a positive mindset, definitely super important in my opinion. But the thing is, when a feeling shows up, anger, sadness, guilt, you gotta feel it. You gotta feel it to heal it. If you don't feel it, it's just going to go into your body somewhere, hang out, and then someday it's going to explode like a bottle of champagne everywhere. Shake it first and then poof, everywhere. So it needs to be felt. Your feelings need a voice. They need to be heard to heal. And this might be heavy and this might be a lot. This is a lot of the things I do when I work with clients. We get right down into it and figure out what's going on underneath the surface. Because I feel a lot of the time we don't talk about underneath the surface. When I had a business coach, they always said, don't talk too much about what you're doing because it's work and people don't like work. And that is probably true. But today I'm sharing because I feel that maybe people won't get one-on-one coaching, and that is okay. The thing is, though, you need to know these things so you can heal. I am so passionate about people living their best lives. And even if I can just give you a little tip, a little pointer to help you feel better and start living the life of to start living the life you deserve and want so desperately, that, yay, me. And it's just so important to figure out what has happened to you so you can start loving yourself more. You can realize that, I learned that so long ago when I was, 3 or 4. Wow. Okay, that's not my actual belief. And you can start looking at things differently and realize that that's not who you are. That's just who people told you you are. So this beautiful thing is, we come into this world as babies and we're excited about life. We don't know right or wrong. We just know how loved, we just know love. Eventually we smile and we just, we cry when we're hungry and cold and things, but that's it. We need the basic things and love. And as we get older, they say about 2 years old is when we start seeing the world differently. We start taking in other people's beliefs. Now, not everything is bad that we learn, right? Like there's some really good, juicy stuff, I'm sure, in there. But the thing is, not everything we've learned throughout our lives is going to serve us. I know there's a lot I learned that I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't believe that. That's not mine. So let's get rid of that. So we don't even have to hate our childhood or our past, but it's just learning from it. So, and I say this because when I went through this deep healing, because all the things I do to help my clients, I actually did myself going through the empowerment coaching program. And I learned a lot about myself. But at the same time, I started hating my parents. I'm like, why did they do this to me? Why did they do this? Like, why did they say this? Why didn't they love me more? Why didn't they support me more? And, all this, that, and that. And I finally made peace with it because our parents or the people in our lives can only do what they've been taught to and learned unless they step out of their comfort zone and do differently. So I know when I first became a coach, I was like, I need to change, how everybody sees. And I was really going to be big into helping moms really love themselves so they can raise children. And it's not even so much about that anymore. I just want everybody to love themselves. So anyways, but I'm so passionate because as a person that didn't feel that love as a child, as deep as in different ways, like I was loved, but there's definitely, mixed signals there. I'm not smart enough and things like that. Or pretty enough. So people say things and they don't even realize it. But it's about breaking that cycle too, right? So I was just talking to somebody the other day about my weight gain, like my bad body image and things that I've had and how I've treated my body poorly through diet and just doing silly things because I always thought I needed to. And then I look back at pictures of me when I was 12 or 13 going, I was crazy. What was I thinking? I wasn't fat. And it was just this poor body image that I had. And I was sharing how my upbringing, I didn't have that supporting, loving role model. And they're like, but that's so different now, right? With your kids. I'm like, yes, it's 100% different. So what we do is we take what happens to us and we can either be sad, miserable, grumpy about it and not learn anything from it and just let it dictate our lives longer and longer and longer. And it can be hold us hostage so we can't live our best life. Or we can look at it and go, I can do better. I can change this. I can change, I can change, and we can break the cycle of this, beating ourselves up kind of thing. I don't use the word self-love much in our house. Now, my kids know what I do and things like that, but I just share the conversations around self-love. So saying, maybe they'll be saying something about their body or just different things. So my kids will, say something about my belly being jiggly, and I'll actually go into detail and be like, well, I didn't have the best relationship with myself. And I'll go into detail about my candida, not like crazy, but I will share. I will be honest with my history of my body image and be like how silly I was to think that. But that's what I thought back then. And I will be open and honest about things. But at the same time, so I don't make it all about me either. And I just give them the love. So if they're having a bad day or they're being miserable, I'm like their little cheer squad, something I wish I had growing up, And it's not about, you got to be careful sometimes about, I see people going, they didn't have this in their life, so they go completely the opposite direction. But for me, it's just when I love myself, and it's even for you, when you love yourself, you can love other people unconditionally. And it comes from this place of love instead of lack. I hope that makes sense. So when we feel lack in our lives, we put that on other people. But when we are fully in love with ourselves, we're, grateful for our life and we lean into love, then that love goes out, and that is what we have to give others is love. So when we say something, it's very loving because it's coming from a loving place. So lack then brings out lack. And that's what I had in my life, where I know a lot of it came from low self-esteem from my mom. And then that got put onto me. And there, again, no blame here. So now that I've actually healed parts of me that, were feeling hurt from my childhood and hearing those things, I can actually look at my parents in a new light, going, wow, okay, they just, needed that love too. And it's just really beautiful when you finally get out of there. Because I had a lot of anger there for a while when I was going through the healing process. So if you have that, ask yourself why. Because it's not looking at our past and be like, blaming it on other people. It's not about blame. This is not blame. It's looking at what did you learn? Who did you learn it from? So that you can make peace with it and realize that it's not a part of you. So if you have deep beliefs about something, but they're not really in line with what you want to do in your life, what's wrong with me when that comes up? Be like, maybe you have to go deeper. What is wrong with you? List it out. And then figure out where you learned why that would be wrong or what part of you is wrong. You know what I mean? So for me, it's I'm not smart enough. I had that for so long. Let me tell you, I let that prevent me from doing a lot of things for a very long time. And it was not mine. It was not my belief. I learned that along my childhood. And then I owned it like nobody's business. And I finally let it go and released it. So a long time after, there's definitely some deep work that happened in there. And if you ever want to know more, definitely jump on my website and see more. There's free resources there and things like that at jodymisiak.com. And just you can get in touch with me. But anyways, it's a process. You've learned things, and it's okay to have these thoughts and feelings. You heard them over and over in your life. And maybe somebody didn't even tell you something, but you overheard something. There's so many things out there that people have said. And an old one is children are meant to be seen, not heard. Well, nowadays, my children are heard all the time. Our whole neighborhood can hear them when they're out playing. Anyway, so different, right? It's so different. But we hear different things. And the fun thing is each generation too has different things. And society's constantly changing. Oh, and let's talk about society for a minute. Society plays a pretty big part sometimes in our beliefs. Like you need to have the latest phone or the latest whatever. And you need to be on social media all the time, like all these things. And we're told about social media. So we can learn from family and friends and things like that, but we can also pick it up along the way through social media. For me, a lot of the time it was magazines growing up. I would read 17, and that's where a lot of my body image or lack thereof, like my poor self-esteem for my body happened. And unfortunately, I just didn't have that support to be like, no, like you're beautiful just as you are, or any of those tools to work through to make me feel better. Instead, I dieted a lot. So now I am here healing my adult body in a loving way. And sometimes it takes time. But the most important part is that I'm doing it and loving my way through it. And that's what's important for you too. Loving your way through all this. Giving yourself a hug when you need it. Asking for help, asking for support when you need it. Having a good friend to lean on, to talk to. So the next time you hear that voice in your head go, what's wrong with me? Or saying any other negative thought like, I'm not worthy, I'm a screw up, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I can't do this, I'm not educated enough, so-and-so can do it, but I can't. Pause. Hit that pause button. It's my favorite button in the whole wide world, pausing. And just be aware of that, being aware of those thoughts, and then diving deeper into why. Or if you don't have a lot of time, be like, what happened to me? Right? Just what happened to me? And remember, you have to feel the emotions to heal. And I know you probably don't want to hear that because I know I didn't when I started. It's like, what? I'd rather just pretend I'm happy. Isn't that the truth? Anyway, so you do need to feel to heal. The emotions show up for a reason. And I say this with so much love because I still have things that show up. I'm like, okay, guess it's time to figure out that. I hope this has helped. Give yourself a hug if you're feeling it. It's a big episode, not long or anything, like it's longish, but it's deep. It's a deep episode. So give yourself a hug, maybe go for a walk, stretch your legs, get some fresh air, and know that you are loved. You are loved. And the really cool thing is, once you love yourself, you'll realize that you don't need anybody else's validation or love. It's pretty cool when you have other people's love, but you don't need it. And then when you do love yourself more, you attract more love into your life. It's a really beautiful cycle. So you are loved right here and now. You are. And the more you get to know yourself, the more love you will have for yourself because you're already an amazing person. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you again so much for being here. I very much appreciate you and for taking the time to listen to this episode. Thank you again. Remember, if any of this resonates with you and you want to share it with other people. Don't keep this a secret from anybody. If it's helping you, share the love. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.